All right, welcome back for another FSD drive with version 14.1.4. We're going to be going from my house here in St. Paul to Costco, and there's a closer Costco, but I wanted to pick this one because it gives us a little bit more time of driving at night. It is now dark out, and let's just see how this version performs at night. My first drive, right after I got the update, was not very good. So let's see if this one is any better or if we see some of the similar, issues and behavior that we saw that night. So even at night, the car does steer to the left there, which is really interesting because it really can't see that well, and it is a steeper driveway. So I think that's pretty darn cool that it still does that behavior even at night. I mean, that's what we all want, right? Is more consistency regardless of time of day in terms of performance. Okay, we look to be clear on our left. Come to a full stop there. And it's going to peak out right here, and it is clear. So again, there's that brake pumping behavior again. So I'm going to report that. There was a car, but it was way far away. So when we have to use those pillar cameras, again, that's when this behavior starts coming up, it seems like. The car has a tough time gauging how far away things are, especially at night. And that wasn't the case with version 13. So, let's just see how the rest of the drive goes, but not off to a great start. Okay, so maybe about, I don't know, a quarter mile, we're going to have to get over to the left because there are parked cars, and the car does recognize that, and we're going to have to let this car go by first, and then we'll get an opening. Okay, good behavior there. A little bit of pump in there again. The brakes just kind of came on pretty strong, but it wasn't a back and forth like it normally is, so maybe that was the incorrect way to describe it, but just a solid brake input there for I don't know what reason. The road looked like it's kind of uneven back there. It's not a very good quality surface, so maybe it saw that, but continuation of what we saw earlier already, just a little more. All right, should be getting a green light here. There we go. All right, and we'll be merging on to I-94, which should take us to I-394, which will kind of get us the rest of the way there to Costco. It was a nice and normal auto lane change there. Didn't notice any hesitations or anything like that. We saw a few of those in that first drive I did at night a couple days ago. So we'll keep an eye on that sort of behavior on the way back as well, just to see if there's been any improvements. So, but sure seems to look like that the lingering issue that is still plaguing 14.1 and 14.1.4 is, you know, the accuracy of predictions of objects that are approaching us from the sides, which depend on our pillar camera views for that. So it seems like the car has a tough time, you know, for whatever reason, validating those objects are far away or close, and it just hesitates way too much. And then it does that when you can see it's doing that based on the inputs it's making, right? With the throttle brake and back to throttle and back to brake again. So those sort of inputs, you know, indicate that it's confused because it doesn't know what it's seeing. So, but I think the good news here is that that behavior, at least for me anyways, has all been pretty much zapped during the daytime. So if it's now just reserved for nighttime driving, you know, I know they'll get to the bottom of it eventually, but I can live with that limitation for now. But I know a lot of folks who live at, you know, who do a lot of their driving at night are going to be hoping that other dot release here is coming very soon to fix that behavior as well. And but overall, I'm much happier with 14.1.4 compared to 14.1.3. The daytime performance has been pretty much lights out for me. You know, had a few Autopark mistakes or whatever, but that's to be expected at this stage with that integration. So, yeah, overall, pretty happy. We'll just kind of have to see how this nighttime driving, you know, issues, how they'll shake out and how long it takes them to resolve them. Okay, and now we're exiting 394 and getting on to Park Place Boulevard. We got a couple turns left, and then we'll be in the Costco parking lot. So right now it says it's picking the parking lot, which is great. That's what we want. It has us going towards the front of Costco, so hopefully it just finds a spot towards the back. Now, it's, you know, an hour from close at Costco, so I would think it's a lot slower at this time, but Costco's are always pretty busy around here in Minnesota, no matter what time of day, so we'll see how busy it is tonight. little bit of hesitation again there with those pedestrians, and you wouldn't see that at night at all. So there was no crosswalk for them. So I will be reporting that one as well if I can hit the button correctly. There we go. Yeah, just being a little overly cautious. They weren't moving at all, so it just seems to be very uncertain at night of what's going on. And this is brand new here. So at this Costco here in St. Louis Park, it looks like they're building some fast chargers. I wonder if they're the Electrify America ones. It sure looks like it. Yep, they are. Pretty neat. So I'm always happy to see more fast chargers around here. Not sure if that location's going to be great because this Costco is always super busy. But that'd be nice to see more chargers around here. All right, so now we got to find a parking spot, and this is going to be the fun part. It still looks really busy, and now that they have reduced parking lot capacity because of the charger build out, this might get a little interesting. All right, we're going to go to the left here, which is good. I don't think it's going to find any parking spots. And let's see if it tries to find a handicap parking spot. I'm willing to bet that's what it's going to do tonight. So I'll obviously move it, but let's let it do its thing here and see what it's going to do. Yeah, so we're going to go around, and hopefully when it goes around, it goes to the end, and then we can maybe find a better spot. All right. A little better lighting over here, so I expect better behavior with pedestrian detection there. And yeah, pretty good there. So we're going to have to probably go all the way down. Let's see if we can find a spot. All right, there was a spot there, but it gave up. So let's see if it's going to back in here. Oh, it's going to back in. Cool. I actually might use this spot, actually, so let's see how well it does. It doesn't pull forward enough, it seems like sometimes in the Model S, and this is an example. You know, now we're blocking this poor guy here that's trying to get out. So that maneuver took longer than it should have, but the end result is what we want. So overall, yeah, plenty of room on both sides. That was pretty good. Awesome. I'm going to make a run inside of Costco here, and then I'll be back with you guys in about 10 minutes. All right, we're going to head back towards St. Paul, and I'm going to get some dinner at Chipotle now that I've done my Costco run. Had to get those chicken nuggies. All right, and this parking lot is just not intuitive, and it's going to be it's going to be a lot less intuitive once they get these chargers online. I think, like I said before, I think it's really cool that they're adding some fast chargers, even if they Electrify America. That's still the more the merrier. But yeah, this parking lot's already pretty tight with how many people come here. So hopefully people that charge there will be away far enough from the entrance where it's not a problem. All right. And good behavior there, no hesitation. And so what we'll do here is we're going to make a left turn here, and then a right, and then our left, and then we'll be back on I-394 going eastbound, and we'll take that until we can get on 94 east, and that will take us pretty much into St. Paul. All right, so we got a right turn here, and with some vehicles I'm sure approaching from the distance maybe. Yep, one out there. Let's see if the car hesitates here. All right, came to a stop, and no hesitation. So no problems there. But that was one of those circumstances where, you know, we've seen some excessive hesitation. lane change there when it did, because if it waits too long, you run out of space pretty quickly here before getting on the freeway. And that's happened, I would say, probably back in the version 12 days more. Version 13, I think, handled that area quite well, but version 14 seems to do very similar to what I saw with version 13, and thought ahead there to make its lane change. So again, great behavior with the out of lane change there. No excessive hesitation. So car seems to be doing much better tonight with similar conditions as we had a couple nights ago, even though it's, nighttime and everything. And if anybody's listening at Tesla, this needs to get fixed, like, for the sake of all Minnesota, autopilot, navigate autopilot, FSD users, that behavior right there, and I'm going to continue to report it. In that stretch of road during rush hour, it's so jammed there, and you can't do that maneuver there, right? That's for folks coming on from the last on-ramp and merging in. But FSD will use it as a place to try to butt ahead in line, and you don't want to do that behavior. It's not courteous at all. It's also confusing too, because we weren't merging. We were already on I-394 at that time. So the car has to stay in its lane and not try to use that merge space as a lane, because it ends like within like 100 feet or so. So you're immediately moving back over, which is just, confusing to everybody around, including me. There it is right there. There's the blinker to get over. Now, just like earlier today, it canceled the blinker right away. So, at least that seems to be an improvement from before, where it would just keep the blinker on for most of the tunnel. So, and the solid white line does go away up here. So, it's one of those things where it shouldn't even bother to try until we, get to right about here if you're going to flip it on. Because I think within maybe 100 feet, the dotted line starts. So just like what I did there, that's the right move. That's the move right there. That's what you're supposed to do. I want to make about the speed profiles. So the last couple of drives, the behavior has been better. Right now we're holding it about 6 miles, 7 miles an hour over the speed limit. And it's pretty darn close to what I would do. So it's one of those things where, if this is the behavior we saw more of, I would be perfectly fine with the speed profiles. It's really trying to hold it around 7 over. So, as long as they were to cap the standard profile to not go over 9 over, I think that would be my biggest thing. If they could just do that, that would make this profile perfect. And the reason why I say that is because, chill is still too fast, in my opinion, and very similar to standard. The difference isn't as big as you think it would be. And then hurry is it's too fast. It's even faster than standard. So we need kind of that middle ground, which is what that standard profile should be. All right, so we've exited I-94 East, and now we're going back onto Cretin here. And then as we get down a little further, let's see if we have that brake pumping issue here. I do hear a police officer here. Oh, it looks like it's on the other side of the freeway, so. All right, this will be a good test here if we get any of that hesitation. So we've got cars coming from our left here. Visibility is decent. So as soon as this car goes, there should be a window. Car looks to be coming though, so let's see if it hesitates at all. Nope, no hesitation. So that was good. Would have liked to see what it would do if a car was approaching though, even if it was kind of farther back, if it would have hesitated. Job avoiding that bump there. I don't know if you saw that, but the car definitely steered around that bump on the right hand side. I think it was just like a grate for the drain, but yeah, it definitely wanted to stay away from that, which is really cool. All right, so we have to get over. This lane ends, and the car does not fool around one bit and decides to get over. So exactly what we need to see. All right, and the car is staying to the right to move around this turning car. Again, I really love that behavior in 14.1. It does an excellent job of always positioning itself, anticipating that somebody's going to be turning on these two-lane roads like this, right, where you don't have a dedicated turn lane. So, but you have ample space to pass on the right, obviously. So, what I really like is when you're coming around like a couple cars that are waiting to turn, and you can't really see the oncoming traffic yet. The car will confidently go around to the right, and then it kind of slows down just a tad, and to make sure nobody's cut in front of you. And it's always done that in a very, very safe manner. So, and it's great because it saves time as well. Because if you just sit to wait behind the turning cars, you're obviously going to burn, several minutes on each light potentially if you're missing those light cycles, which is often the case around here. So, it sure makes using FSD around like where I live now like just a no-brainer. It makes life so much easier. Great behavior there with that pedestrian, no brake pumping at all. And then, so we're going to check the parking lot here. Yep, that's the setting. That's for Chipotle. So this parking lot, again, is usually pretty busy, depending on the time of day. So it should be starting to quiet down a little bit, just like Costco. But as you saw back there, Costco is still pretty busy. So it's sometimes hit or miss. There's a lot of students around here, college students, so typically they eat later in the day, so it might be packed. Who knows? Okay, so now we're going to make a right turn into the parking lot. And my suspension's automatically raising. It looks like it's pretty chill right now, so let's see where it decides to park. It can go straight, or it can go to the left here. I would have preferred to go to the right, but let's see what parking spot it picks. I think we're going to back in. Yeah, I would hope so anyways. Perfect. That's a great parking spot selection there. All right. And that's a pretty much a bang on job there parking wise. So I'm gonna go get some food and then I'll be right back and we'll head home. All right, had a few problems with my camera there, but we got her figured out. So we're gonna head home now, and I am gonna come in a different way. So we're gonna come down Cleveland and go from there. If I can just tap the right buttons. There we go. All right. So we will make a left turn here, and now there's a curb on the right side here. It's actually like a flat curb, so you can actually drive over it, but the car does a good job usually of avoiding it, even though it does no harm if you go over it. Good confident behavior there, no hesitation. And again, no hesitation there. We had a green light and some cars off in the distance, but nowhere near us. There. Didn't hit the brakes at all. Just slowed down a little bit, and that was it with some regen. Okay, so we're going to make a right turn here, and then we should be at my garage. Okay, so now my garage is up here. Let's see, we'll get the home button there. There it is. Let's see what it does. Oh, I might actually give it a shot this time. Let's see. Oh, we're like so close. Just go for it. All right, it won't go forward. So we've tried everything to get this thing to park in my garage, and it just won't do it. So maybe in a future build. But otherwise, overall, I think tonight the drive was really pretty decent. We had a couple hesitations, unlike we've seen in the daytime where the car has been just lights out in terms of performance. So yeah, we'll just have to keep an eye on the nighttime drives. I'll do some more tomorrow night as well, and we'll get hopefully a better understanding of where things sit with 14.1.4. But anyways, thanks for watching as always, and I will see you in the next one.